Look, folks, I don't know what it is about Donald Trump right now, but him and his team just can't stop talking about me. And that is such a weird sentence for me to say. It's not something I expected to be talking about this week, but they just can't stop. The Trump War Room account, which is associated with Donald Trump's political operation, has another response for me after Trump and JD Vance attacked me over the past week on social media. So I want to get into this story and break down a couple of things here. Before I do so, make sure to subscribe to the channel. It goes an incredibly long way. And with all the MAGA trolls coming at me right now, your support means a lot. And, if you haven't subscribed yet, I think me annoying the hell out of Donald Trump is a pretty good reason to do so. So join us here. I promise you won't be disappointed. Drop a like on the video, comment, let me know what you think about the story. And without further ado, let's just quickly dive in here. And then I want to show you a couple of things after. So I want to show you this video I posted yesterday regarding this whole saga and my belief that the Republicans are actually scared of the Democrats right now. And I'll explain more in this video. Just take a look. So folks, in the past week, Donald Trump has attacked me on social media, posting an AI video on Truth Social of him flying a jet, dropping feces on me specifically and millions of other Americans protesting. JD Vance then got involved and joined with the president to attack me as well on social media. And earlier in the week, MAGA Republicans got Deport Harry Sisson trending on Twitter. It was the number one thing on the platform with like 30 to 40,000 posts from different accounts. And so they are terrified of us. That's the takeaway here. This is not just about me. This is about me, you, and everyone around you who is sticking up for democracy and pushing back on this administration. They are terrified of us. They see the No Kings protests. They see more and more Americans fed up with what Donald Trump is doing, and they simply can't handle it. They can't reverse course or change policy to have their approval ratings go up. They have to go on the offense and attack us instead. And that's a losing strategy. And so I welcome the attacks from Donald Trump and JD Vance and MAGA wanting to deport me. It only empowers me, it empowers people at home, and I'm ready to beat them in the elections in 2026 and 2028 and beyond. Love you all. And so I guess that video that we just watched really got under Trump and his team's skin. Just a little bit. This, according to the Trump War Room, they said, "Ma'am, calm down." I just find it so funny. This whole saga has really exposed the fact that Trump, JD Vance, and none of these Republicans can actually respond to a point of substance. They can't ever do that. They have to insult the person or post AI videos or whatever it might be. They have no substance. They cannot debate. And so they do crap like this. And it's exactly what Caroline Levitt just did yesterday by making a "your mom" joke to a journalist who was reaching out to her for comment on a question that they had. And just as a brief refresher, if you haven't seen this, I mean, of course you've seen this video of Donald Trump dropping the feces on the American people. This has all happened. The Trump team just can't stop talking about me. I don't know why. I don't say that with joy. I'm saying that out of confusion. The only joy I have is that clearly we're getting under his skin. But why, they just keep going after me. Can't stop. This is today. The Trump War Room account put this out today. Here's another one, of course, from JD Vance, as you've seen by now, saying, "I'll ask him for you, Harry," when I said, "Can a reporter please ask Trump why he posted that video?" And there were other members of the Trump team, I just saw this recently, that also came after me. Kalen Dorr, who is, let's just read this here, deputy assistant to the president. So in Donald Trump's inner circle, you might say. After I posted a picture of me at the No Kings protest in Manhattan, I said, "No Kings NYC was a huge success. Millions of Americans showed up across the country to make their voices heard." He said, "How nice of Harry to post a pic of his local old folks home outing." And I think this is such a disgusting response. Again, it really speaks to the lack of substance that comes from the Trump administration. They're very childish people, but we know this by now. First of all, if you actually look at this photo, there are plenty of young people in this photo, so I don't even know what point he's trying to make. But let's just say even if there weren't young people, let's just say it was all old people for some reason. Let's just say hypothetically. They're still voters. They're still Americans who are going to kick them out of office. So I don't know what the point he's trying to make there. And just as a summary on the past week, since Donald Trump, apparently, I guess I live in his head rent-free, Trump attacked me, JD Vance joined in, MAGA got Deport Harry Sisson trending #1 on X, and I'm starting to think that, the Trump fans just don't like me. I'm starting to think that Donald Trump doesn't like me. I don't know why, though. I don't know why, but I do wear it as a badge of honor. And speaking of all of this, speaking of Republicans who are coming after me, Republicans who are making disingenuous points toward me, given everything that's going on. I just did a Piers Morgan debate today, and I want to show you two clips in this debate I did. Of course, it was like a 3v1. There are like three Republicans up there versus me, the one liberal, but I made sure to give them hell, bring the facts to the conversation so they couldn't get out of it. In this clip, I completely debunked the narrative that the Democrats call MAGA and Donald Trump Nazis or Hitler all the time, and we just do that for no reason, or we call Donald Trump a fascist for no reason. So take a look at this clip, and let me tell you, the MAGA fans were not happy with me on this panel when I said this. In that ad that Donald Trump posted, the words "Unified Reich" were on a newspaper that appeared in the ad that was like praising Donald Trump. So if the Trump campaign is putting that in an ad, I think that deserves to be called out. Number two, I don't think anybody in this debate can name me a high-ranking elected Democrat who has called Donald Trump Hitler. I don't think anybody can. Number three, one of the only high-ranking politicians in American politics who called Donald Trump Hitler is J.D. Vance, calling him America's Hitler. Now, working backwards to what Robert De Niro said, I think what Robert De Niro said is a little distasteful. I think he certainly could have worded it better, taken out some charged language. But I just see these recent stories about Republicans, whether it be the youth leader group chat or Paul Ingrassia, who is still Donald Trump's nominee to lead the office of special counsel, pledging affinity for Hitler. Peter Gunta, who is the chair of the Young Republicans Party in New York, said, "I love Hitler" in a chat. Other people were musing about refitting gas chambers so they, quote, fit the Hitler aesthetic. Paul Ingrassia, the special counsel nominee, just got caught in other leaked texts saying that he has a Nazi streak. So when these high-ranking Republicans who are working in the party right now are pledging affinity to Hitler, I think that deserves to be called out. Not that every Republican should be painted as that. I certainly don't do that. I don't agree with that. But can the conservatives on this panel condemn, number one, Donald Trump's nominee, and number two, can they condemn the Youth Republican group chat? And then number three, if they write it off as a joke, then why were they so against people joking about Charlie Kirk? I never joked about Charlie Kirk, but they pick and choose when humor can be applied in politics. And when you're pledging affinity to Hitler, that's a joke, according to many. Yeah. Yep. I agree with of course, I said it, so I guess me saying I agree with it is kind of pointless. But I stand by everything I just said right there. These Republicans are so upset when we correctly identify Donald Trump as a fascist, as people around him, people he's appointed as fascists. And then we find out that a lot of these people have said they like Hitler in their private group chats. And like, what else are we meant to identify them as? If they're saying this, they're openly saying it, might I add. They're saying it amongst them, their friends, and they're pushing policy ideas that resonate with the kind of fascist ideology, that are in line with the fascist ideology. What else are we meant to call them? I just, these Republicans, they get so up in arms about this. I had to fact check them on that. Speaking of which, another fact check I want to show you from my Piers Morgan debate, a Republican tried to claim, and they did this with a straight face, that more political violence comes from the left than the right. And of course, I had to put her in her place and silence the Republican panel. Take a look. Now, you keep talking about political violence, and we have study after study that shows that more political violence comes from the right wing, especially in modern American history, than it does from the left wing. So even if you just want to ignore the data, question for you. When Donald Trump mocked Paul Pelosi getting beaten over the head with a hammer, was that okay? When Donald Trump Jr. did the same, was that okay? When Mike Lee, senator from Utah, mocked the murder of Melissa Hortman and her husband in her home on Twitter, was that okay? When Donald Trump didn't lower the flag for Melissa Hortman after he did, of course, for Charlie Kirk, was that okay? When he was asked about Melissa Hortman, he said, "Who is that?" He didn't know who Melissa Hortman was. Didn't even attend her funeral like President Biden did, former President Biden. So these are examples of political violence. The largest example of modern political violence comes from your party, Donald Trump, on January 6th, and then he proceeded to pardon all of those people. So you keep talking about political violence, but every major Democrat in office has condemned any violence. I would condemn anybody at these protests saying they want to take the lives of any conservatives for their beliefs. But your guy pardoned people who beat police officers over the head. He mocked the Harry, beating of Nancy Pelosi's husband. And then they had to interrupt me. I had more to say, but that's exactly right. Look, these Republicans, they know that the topic of political violence is a losing one for them. They don't have the data. We have the data on our side to say, yeah, a lot of this violence is, number one, coming from Donald Trump and Trump supporters, but also number two is actually just coming from the right generally in modern American history. So they can't engage on this topic. They have to interrupt me, for example. And when we give them the facts and put it in their face, They can't handle it. So, for some reason, in the past week, MAGA has supercharged their disingenuous points toward me, whether it be in this Piers Morgan debate, or Donald Trump coming after me, or JD Vance, or the MAGA war room, whatever it might be. They're doing it, and they're doing it frequently. But the unfortunate thing for them is that I'm not stopping. I'm not going to be quiet. I'm not intimidated by these MAGA losers. I'm going to keep going, and we're going to keep going, fighting together against them. So look, I will leave the video there. Just had to show you their new attack on me, their new response. But of course, make sure to subscribe down below, drop a like on the video, comment, let me know what you think about this story. And as I always say, I greatly appreciate you, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.